Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bethany and today we get to do a book haul. I'm so excited. I have a pile of Christian fiction and I'm going to start with those. That's my biggest stack for myself. Then I have two nonfiction, not Christian nonfiction. And then I have three middle grade that I specifically bought, I guess, for myself because I'm not including them with my homeschool section, which will be the last section. So the last section are going to be books that I specifically bought for a homeschool purpose. One of them is an adult book, but it goes with something we're doing for homeschool. So I'm going to share that at the end because I know not everybody homeschools, but I am going to share a little bit about how we're using them. So I'm just kind of letting you know that ahead of time so that if that's something that you're not interested in, you don't have to watch that part. I'm going to kind of save that for the end and share that there. So let's get started with Christian fiction. For the first one, this is one that I know very little about, and it is called Perennials, and it's by Julie Cantrell. I don't know anything about this author or this book. I'm reading the back, right as I picked it up, and I do think I read a tiny bit before I bought it. It just says, when two estranged sisters reunite for their parents' 50th anniversary, a family tragedy brings unexpected lessons of hope and healing amid the flowers of their mother's perennial garden. So I mainly picked this because I love flowers and I thought the cover was really pretty. And it is Thomas Nelson, publisher, so I don't know what to expect, but this was for sure cover buy for me. All right, the next one is the third book in the Tammy L. Gray State of Grace series. I think this is a trilogy, so I think this is the last one. I have the first two. The second one is on my TBR. I really loved the first one. I'm very slow at reading series, which is kind of frustrating because I feel like sometimes, not necessarily in this case, but maybe sometimes you kind of lose something when you wait forever to read the second book because you don't remember what happened in the first book, as I certainly probably won't. So I have a couple of books that I really want to read that are sequels, and I'm kind of like, should I read the first book again? Because it's been a long time. So I don't know how to do that. I never feel really in the mood to read a sequel right after I'm done. So I don't know how to time that better, I guess. I need to work on that. I guess. I don't know. I guess it's not a big deal if I just read all of the first books in all of these series, but I want to read more. So yeah, I gotta figure that out. But anyway, this first book, which was called Love and a Little White Lie, was one of my favorites last year. I really, really, really loved it. It was a great kind of intro into Christian romance, and it was really good. So I wanted to just go ahead and pick up the third one and have the whole set on my shelves, even though I'm not very good at reading series. Next is Where the Road Bends by Rachel Fordham, and I read The Letter Tree last month and I really loved it. That's also by her. I found it on Book Outlet and thought I want to go ahead and get that so I can try another Rachel Fordham because I really enjoyed her writing. Historical fiction, Christian romance, I think is what's happening here. Next one is What Happens Next by Christina Suzanne Nelson. I read a book from her last year, Shaped by the Waves, and I really liked it, and so I just wanted to get another one of hers on my shelf, and this one sounded interesting. Okay, this one I have had my eye on for a while. It's been on Book Outlet. I've placed several orders where I've almost put it in my cart because it's a Bethany House book. Katie Pauner, Where the Blue Sky Begins. I don't know anything about it. So I think this is contemporary. I know that it deals with a terminal illness, I think. And maybe that's why I've been a little bit hesitant. Not that I'm totally against reading about that. So I don't know. But yeah, I think the cover is cute and it's a Bethany House book, and I just thought I would throw it in the cart. Why not? Okay, this is another one that I've had like saved on Book Outlet for a while, and also did check it out from the library, but didn't get to it. And so I just decided to buy it. The Waterkeeper by Charles Martin. And what pushed me to go ahead and buy it is that Krista with Books and Jams is reading this for her Patreon this month, and I just joined her Patreon. Okay, the next one is The Secret Keepers of Old Depot Grocery by Amanda Cox. I feel like you can't see this very well. There we go. This book I've already read. I listened to it on audio, but it was the only book by Amanda Cox that I didn't own. And I really like her. She has definitely become one of my favorite authors. I've read everything that she has written because this is like, well, maybe this was her first. Is this her debut? No, I don't know. No. I own all of the rest, so I wanted to own this one as well because it's definitely something that I could potentially reread, but more likely recommend or give to someone else to read. So I just wanted to own all of her books because she's one of my favorite authors. Next up is one that I feel like I missed out on last year. Was it last year? I think that's when a lot of people were talking about it. It is The Best Summer of Our Lives by Rachel Hawk. I'm not sure if that's how you say her last name. But yeah, I felt like a lot of people were talking about this and it sounded good. And I've kind of had my eye on it for a while, so I thought I would go ahead and pick it up. And also, I love books that involve the state that I live in, I guess. I don't know. That always just piques my interest. If I know the author's from here or the story, you know, highlights my state. And so this one does. I think it's mostly set in Oklahoma, around a camp. Anyway, it's a contemporary Christian, well, it's contemporary, but also it might be in dual timeline because I think it is. So 20 years ago, 77. Wait, 97. Oh, I guess. So no present day, doesn't seem like. Okay, I also picked up Cherished by Kim Cash Tate, and I read her book Faithful last year. It's on the back here. Looks very similar. And I really liked it. It's a Christian contemporary. It was really good. It had great faith content, and I loved all of that. Like, they were praying and like God was involved in their lives and in their decisions and in their relationships, and that was very strong in her other one. And so I wanted to go ahead and pick up another one by Kim Cash Tate. Okay, this one did not come from Book Outlet. This came from Amazon today. This is Vienna Prelude by Bodie and Brock Taney. And this is kind of a funny story. So if you watched my April TBR, one of my prompts that my daughter picked for me was a book written or published in the year that I was born, which is 1989. And it has been so hard to find a book that I want to read or can read that was published in that year. So on my video, my TBR, we picked out one on Goodreads, and then I started listening to it. It was The Age of Miracles. And it said on Goodreads that it was originally published in 1989, which on the video I was like, wow, that looks really new. I thought it was newer. And so we thought maybe they redid the cover or whatever. And so I started listening to it, and it started out, the girl in it was like, she was 11 and she was talking about how like most of her friends had cell phones. And I was thinking, no, like, no. this is not that old. And so I dug a little deeper, and yeah, it was written in 2012. So I don't know what was going on Goodreads and why that one said 1989, but it definitely wasn't. So I had been searching for other books published in 1989 that I might want to read, and just was not finding anything interesting to me, except for one by John Grisham, because I had read a couple of his books, The Pelican Brief and The Client, I think I read in high school. I don't remember the details, so I don't know if they were books I should have been reading then. I don't remember, but I liked them a lot. I have changed quite a bit in my reading taste, specifically what I can handle as far as like content, like violence and stuff. I can handle some, it's just, I don't know, like I've definitely become more aware of how things affect me. It's not that I've become more sensitive, I've just become aware of how things affect me. You know, when you're a teenager, you think, you know, nothing can affect you. So there was one by him, and it was published in 1989. What was it called? I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna share this in my wrap up because I DNF'd it. I got the audiobook. It was 17 hours long, and at 2 minutes and like 30 seconds, I DNF'd it because it jumped right in to what was going to be a sexual assault of a child, and it was giving some details. I mean, I didn't even let it go any further. I mean, it was 2 minutes and I was like, there is absolutely no way I'm listening to this. So it may have ended right after that, but I wasn't even going to listen because I did not want to hear about that. The book in itself sounded like a very, very interesting book, like the rest of the story, but I didn't want the details. I was actually like appalled that they were in there. So I was back to square one. I'm like, I really want to fulfill this prompt because I think it's cool. So I thought I'm gonna try to find maybe some Christian fiction that was published the year I was born, and that's what led me to this. Went ahead and bought it because I think it was checked out at my library and like there was a wait list. So I thought, well, that's a good sign if a book that's 34 years old has a wait list at the library. So anyway, I went ahead and bought it just to have it, and hopefully I'll get to it in April. Okay, so now we have two nonfiction. I guess I'm gonna classify them as like political nonfiction. So yeah, that always feels risky. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and share them and, you know, do what you want with that. The first one is one that I picked up from Book Outlet called The White House Plumbers, and this is about Watergate, which I just thought would be interesting to read about because I don't know a ton about it. The other one I picked up is a new release, and that is Second Class by Batya Ungar-Sargon. I have heard her maybe just once, maybe twice, do an interview, and she just seemed like an interesting person. She's a reporter, and she wrote this book after traveling across the country and kind of getting a feel for like blue collar America, what they were kind of experiencing, what they were feeling about like our political environment in our country and things, and that just sounded interesting to me. I do think it's probably going to be somewhat through like her political lens, maybe. I don't know, it's kind of hard for me to tell exactly where she's at politically, and so I'm just curious. I am really interested in politics, even though it is very stressful and feels very toxic and heavy, and a lot of people don't want to say they're interested in politics, but I am. But yeah, the subtitle is How the Elites Betrayed America's Working Men and Women. So anyway, I'm curious about it. All right, let's talk about some middle grade. Hey, I threw this one in my cart at Book Outlet. It was very inexpensive and also has some Oklahoma ties. So this is called Two Roads by Joseph Bruac. It's historical, and it is about a government boarding school in Oklahoma for Native American children. It says it's a story about identity, strength, and the power of true friendship. No, the power of friendship. I added true. Okay, now this is me getting out of my comfort zone a lot because I bought 2 graphic novels, and I don't read graphic novels, like at all. I'd like to. The only really exposure that I have had are like when my kids bring home a graphic novel. I can't read a graphic novel aloud to kids. Like, I've tried to tell my son this, like, graphic novels are just not meant to be consumed that way because it doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense if I'm just reading the words. Like, graphic novels are just something you read independently. So anyway, so he's always like, oh, mom doesn't like graphic novels, but I don't know that that's necessarily true. I might enjoy them on my own. Now, I don't want to read one about like WWE, so yeah, but so I picked up some that sounded like I might like them, and I'm gonna try at some point, even though it feels a little daunting for whatever reason. Isn't that so silly? Okay, so we're gonna start with When Stars Are Scattered. I've heard so many good things about this one. It's a refugee story. It's a story about brothers, and it just sounds really good. And so I thought, well, I'm interested in it, so this might be a good one to try. Okay, the other one is another popular graphic novel because I thought I might as well start there with the popular ones. And that is Late Fall. People have said really good things about it. It looks like the cover looked pretty, and so I thought the art's probably good in it. Oh my, there's a woman with an eyeball coming out of her head. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest, when I flip through, I'm not drawn in very much, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try graphic novels. I actually have one from the library too that I'm gonna try as well. So maybe I should do a graphic novel vlog, but what if it's a complete flop and I can't do it? I don't know, we'll see. Now we're gonna jump in and talk about some homeschool stuff. So if you're not interested in that, then thank you so much for watching the rest, and I will see you next time. But if you are interested in some homeschool books, it's not curriculum, it's actual books just relating to homeschool. So let's see, I have two. These are really have nothing to do with homeschool curriculum specifically or anything that we're doing. They're just not for me, they're for my son. So that's why I saved them for this portion, and that is just this short little The Tale of Peter Rabbit, like reader edition, whatever. And I just picked this up because when he was littler, he loved Peter Rabbit, and I don't know, I thought, I don't think we have anything like this, so I'll just pick it up. It was very, very inexpensive on Book Outlet, so I grabbed that. And then Nate the Great. It's pretty like short, like big old letter, big font. Let's not say big old. Big font, large. It's large font and lots of pictures. So he's definitely like reading at a higher level than this, but I like to have variety because sometimes it feels overwhelming, and I feel like this kind of stuff, both of these, are just short little things that he can read that maybe won't feel so overwhelming. So the rest of the books that I bought are for a specific purpose. So we decided to join with Read Aloud Revival, which I've talked about before. I'm gonna link her down below. It's Sarah Mackenzie. She has a podcast. That's how I first kind of discovered her. And then she has this homeschool membership that is like a book club. Every month there's a book club for a picture book, every season there's a book club, like a novel for family book club, and there's also a mama's book club. So there's like a book for moms to read for a season. There's a book to read as a family, like a novel for a season, and then there's a picture book each month. And there's a book club guide that goes along with each book, and it kind of gives you ideas on how to incorporate that book into your homeschool. So she describes it as a menu, so you don't have to do everything. It's just ideas on how you can learn about science or history or poetry or art and have it kind of tie into that book. So the current book for April is Home in the Woods, and we had checked this out from the library, I believe, and I loved it. It's beautiful, and I just decided that we needed to own it, and it's also the book club pick for this month. So it is by Eliza Wheeler. Okay, so the inside is winter. I love that. Okay, there's a map of the woods. It, I think, is about like Depression era family. A mother, I think she's a widow maybe, and her several children. Yeah, dad lives with the Angels now. Okay, so it's a widow and 8 children. So she always has a video that goes along with the book, and it's called Looking Closely. So my son can sit, after we've read this, he can watch that video and kind of learn something related to the book. So it's not always grammar, sometimes it is. Sometimes it's about illustration and just how picture books are made, like that process of publishing, illustrating, like all of that. And it's just really good information. Or writing styles, or, you know, whatever. So that's really fun. And then there's also like a live event every month for the book that sometimes it's with the author. Sometimes it's like a nature study related to something in the book. And then I went ahead and picked up some for the summer and fall, actually. So there were some of them that she has like the whole calendar year planned out, so I know what's going to be coming in the fall. Okay, so we're gonna start with the summer books, and there's kind of like a theme in summer. And so summer, I think, is structured a little bit different for the Read Aloud Revival book club, and so is December. So in December, there's a whole Christmas school, and it's like basically something you can use for the whole month of December instead of your regular curriculum if you want, or you can add it on or whatever. And so we did that this Christmas, and that was so much fun. So summertime, I don't know that we're going to be doing a lot of homeschool through the summer. We haven't really figured that out, but I do want to continue at least with the Read Aloud Revival book club. So this is the book that is going to be for the entire summer for the picture book. And it is classic fairy tales. So there's like multiple fairy tales in it. And so we're just going to stay in it for the summer. So I did pick this up on Amazon, and it just looks wonderful. I'm really excited about that. The novel for the summer season is The Wingfeather Saga, On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness by Andrew Peterson. So that'll be fun for our summer read aloud for Read Aloud Revival. Okay, the last two are for, I think, the fall. First one's for the Mama Book Club, which is James Herriot's All Creatures Great and Small. I have not read this, but really wanted to. And so instead of just getting it from the library, I decided to go ahead and buy it in preparation for next year. And so I'm excited about that. And then for the kids book to go along with that is James Herriot's Treasury for Children. And I'm so excited. This is another big, beautiful picture book. And I'm really excited that I found it on Book Outlet. So yeah, it looks great. Again, if you're interested in Read Aloud Revival, I will link the website and everything below, because if you're a homeschool mom and you're here on BookTube, I think you're gonna like it. So I will share that information. And those are all the books that I have. So that was a lot. I do have a box of books that I'm unhauling, and I counted them, and I think if I count all the books that I bought for like myself, like not the ones that I just showed you for homeschool, I have the same amount going out that I brought in. So that makes me happy for just, you know, shelf space and all of that. So I don't think I'm gonna do a video unhaul, and I'm also probably not gonna use Pango. I'm probably just gonna take them somewhere locally because I don't really have time to do that. Yeah, thank you guys so much for being here and watching this video, and let me know if you like any of these books. See you later.